Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
I absolutely should have said something. And honestly, it still bothers me so much that I didn't. This is God on the Go, and I'm your host, Julie Lyles Carr. We come alongside you every week with ideas and conversation starters about the things that matter to you, to your faith, and matter to God. And we have been talking about quiet, what it means to be quiet. Last episode, we talked about how incredible it is to do quiet things, not for attention, that those are things that can really matter to God. But today, I want to flip it around a little bit and talk about those times that we're quiet when we shouldn't be. Do you know how often people say they're afraid to speak up when they see something wrong? People say about 55% of the time they're afraid to say, hey, wait a minute, that's not cool, that's not right. They say they're afraid for a lot of reasons, because they don't know if somebody's going to throw it back on them, if they're going to start a conflict, if they're going to be seen as, kind of a stick in the mud, or if they're going to get canceled. People have all kinds of reasons for not speaking up, for staying quiet when they should say something. And that was me. My husband and I were at a flea market. We were having a great time just doing some shopping. We stopped at this one booth, and the gentleman who was the person who owned that booth was talking to us. And he started saying some things about people that were so rude, were so wrong. And I wish I could tell you, as bold as I can be sometimes, as strong as I want to be, as much as I want to speak up for what's right, I didn't say anything. I was quiet when I should not have been. There are times we do need to be quiet. And then there are times we really need to speak up, to defend those who can't defend themselves, to make the point to someone, hey, that is not okay. Yeah, sometimes it's not a good thing to be quiet. After Jesus died and then he rose again and then he went up to heaven, Peter and some of his other disciples began teaching people across many different cities about Jesus, about their experience of walking with him, about his teachings. And Peter and some of the other apostles experienced government officials and church leadership and all kinds of things saying, we don't want you talking about Jesus. Stop talking about this guy. Be quiet. And Peter said, no. This is not a time to be quiet. In Acts 5 and verse 29, Peter said, we must obey God rather than men. There are definitely times where the right thing is to stay quiet, to not pick a fight, to let something roll off your back, to stay humble. But there are times that staying quiet is the wrong move. We need to obey God even above our fears of speaking up. We need to obey God to speak up for someone who can't, to defend someone who doesn't have anyone to defend them. We need to be willing to do that even when we're afraid. And I understand, like I said, I was quiet when I should not have been. But I want to encourage you to pray that God makes you brave, that God gives you the words, that God reminds you that it's more important to obey God than to obey the fear that sometimes comes when we're worried about what people will think if we speak up for what's right, if we say that that's something we're not going to do or we're not going to be involved in, that God reminds you that it's really important sometimes to not be quiet. A big shout out to George Fox University, where they want to make sure that your student is seen and known. That's part of their promise. Be known at George Fox University. So check out George Fox University as an option for your kiddos who are starting to head into those college years. You can go to georgefox.edu, and I'll see you next time here at God on the Go.